Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Spirit just now, if you watched the video I just filmed before this, I was getting really like a frog in my throat. So I got some water, but I did feel that Spirit was activating my throat chakra so that I would talk to you guys, I'm still a little hoarse, about communicating with other people. And communicating with other people in your life who may not quite be on the same high vibrational frequency that you are on. And I do also think it's very important to remember that when we are dealing with these people, other people, it's important to have compassion for them. And, not to look down on them, not to feel like they are other, because if you other them, then you are playing into the duality that is such a theme of 2022. It's like everyone is pro this or they're anti that, and everything is just like cut down the middle, and everyone hates everybody on the other side. And if you do that with, I live in the 5D and they live in the 3D, then it's really not productive, and actually it lowers your frequency and it brings you down back into the 3D. So don't fall into that trap. That's like it's almost like an ego trap, So just really remember to have compassion for everyone around you, and remember that everyone is not meant to awaken in this lifetime or in this decade. There may be a very specific time in which they are supposed to awaken. And there are lessons for you in interacting with them, and there are lessons for them in interacting with you. And typically, something that Spirit showed me recently is that there are definitely not a lot of children in my life, but I think that as like friends of mine start to have children, and there are just going to be more children in my experience as I get older. And Spirit was saying, everyone thinks that the traditional idea is that children learn from you, but actually it's not the case. You learn so much more from your children or other people's children, and they enrich your life. So if there's ever a situation in which you think that you are the teacher, you are actually the student. You gain more from that interaction than they do. You might be giving them some sort of 3D information, but they are actually giving you a 5D transmission. So remember that when you are dealing with people who you perceive to be in the 3D, because actually they have something to teach you and to give to you. Wow, and they are giving you a 5D transmission. Isn't that amazing? I love that. I love that Spirit just like helped me figure that out live with you guys. So remember, there is something very sacred and spiritual and beautiful about these interactions, even if they don't feel that way in the moment. You're learning something. You might remember it or like understand it later, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, but you will. So anyway, to get to my point, even though I feel like that was all very relevant and needed to be said to kind of lay the groundwork, when you're dealing with people and they want you to discuss divisive topics, you're going to notice that people, of course you would notice this, but people want you to take a side. And the thing is, people who are coming from that 5D perspective, they are much less likely to want to take a side, or they might take a more unconventional or non-traditional viewpoint, right? So you're going to notice people are very curious about why you won't do that. Like you won't stoop to their level and like give an opinion. But that's okay. It's supposed to make them think about their critical thinking and their analysis. It's supposed to open them up and trigger them and say, well, how can someone not have an opinion on that subject? That just the way this is so black and white, and it's so obvious to me. I can't believe this person would do that. But it's going to get them thinking, And Spirit really just wants you guys to drop wisdom on people. Like, just if there's something that comes to your mind, maybe it's an interesting study on whatever it is. Maybe it's, I don't know why this is coming to mind, because I don't really have an opinion on like veganism or carnivore meat eaters. But I could see that if you were with someone who is very traditionally like thinks that vegans are just, pansies. They're not, the vegans are less than. Vegans are annoying. You could bring up an article where you're like, wow, well, it's crazy because there are actually like all of these huge bodybuilders who actually just build their bodies on vegan protein. And you could like show them to them on Instagram. I know that because with my 3D mind, I've seen that. And that will really get people to, that person to stop and think, because maybe it's a very traditional, man who maybe has a little bit of, what we would call toxic masculinity. And he thinks that the only way to build muscle is to eat meat. And so you just have this different perspective and you're not fighting him on it. You're just like, well, it's interesting. I know this. Let me present you with this. And it's just like I talk about in a lot of videos. Someone taught me recently that you don't have to have a value judgment on everything. Not everything is good or bad. You can just let something just be what it is without having an opinion. And you not having an opinion is going to be so, you're going to trigger people's ascension actually to a degree. So that is just one kind of easy example, but there's just going to be so much wisdom that you have locked within you, and it's just going to come out in the moment. You're just going to know what to say, and it's going to be really helpful for people. So basically, don't hold back what you know. Don't hold back just like that 5D wisdom that you have. Yeah, I think that's really it. But just kind of prepare yourself when you are dealing with people who are very argumentative. And this is, I think I've said this in another video as well, but people are not going to believe you based on information that you throw at them and say, well, you're wrong because of X study. People are going to shut you down if you come at them like that. People are going to more hear your side because of the way that you present it. And if you are presenting with just sort of like this calm, compassionate air about you, and just the way that you move through the world is very 5D, high vibe, then that is going to make them think and actually be more willing to hear your opinion on things if you do have an opinion. So it's just about not fighting, but honestly, it's just coming at things with more of a feminine energy. Actually, in the Tao Te Ching, I believe it says the masculine wants to control and force. And this is just like about just yin and yang in general, like this symbol. And then so the masculine energy wants to do that. And the feminine energy submits. But in her submission, she ends up completely dominating. The Tao Te Ching says this. And so if you just use that sort of feminine, I don't know, I just get this like jujitsu feeling, because in jujitsu, what you do is you use someone's attack and you use the force of their attack against them to not win, but to neutralize the attack. So it's like when you are just dealing with these people, you just have to jujitsu your way into neutral. Get back to neutral any way you can. And this could be with political arguments. This could be with people trying to get you to engage in gossip. There are just ways to speak about issues where you don't have to give an opinion. So just realize that. Just realize that an opinion is not necessary for you to function in 3D. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful, and I will see you all in another video.